Good evening, gorgeous people. I'm Aaron Ryan and welcome to the TV Black Box Big Brother After Show Eviction interview. Tonight it was the end of the road for Sam. Sam had the spotlight on her whole time in the house, and not so much for her game plan, but rather some personal relationships. Sam, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks so much for having me, Aaron. Thank you.
Big Brother is a television show, and these interviews are usually about strategy and nominations and who is genuine and who is not. But for you, I guess, your entire personal life has been put on show for the Australian audience, from Josh and Drew to that secret video between Joel and Drew. So I'm wanting to ask first, how are you going? I imagine this experience on Big Brother was nothing like you expected.
Yeah, look, it's definitely nothing like what I expected, and it's been such a wild roller coaster. So at this stage, I'm really trying to just balance myself back out. It's been wild, and yeah, it was so unexpected. So many things that were unexpected. I went in with such different intentions and came out with such a different experience.
Look, I think the best way to do this is probably in chronological order. So, look, you entered the house, and on entering, you saw Josh. Now, there are conflicting reports about whether you knew he would be in there. From your reaction on air and to Big Brother in the diary room, you seemed super surprised. Josh thinks otherwise, and he says that he would be surprised if you were surprised. He was in there based on the circumstances of going into the house. So let me ask you directly now, did you know that Josh was going to be in the Big Brother house?
Look, Josh and I have been in contact for the last 6 years. So I didn't find out till the very last minute that he was going to be in the house. There was a lot to navigate there. You know, like you're in this environment, you're in this game, you're in this house, and like, yeah, it was just all happening at once moment for me, and it was quite overwhelming and confronting, and I just didn't know how to navigate that.
So why did your reactions on air then suggest you had absolutely no idea, or was it just because it was very last minute?
It was because it was very last minute, and yeah, like, look, like Josh had his game plan, and I guess I just wanted to support him in that. And unfortunately, it didn't work out in my best interest, and something I wasn't willing to do is compromise on my integrity, which is why I wanted to let everybody know that we did know each other outside the house. So, yeah.
So did you actually apply to be on Big Brother, or were you sort of asked or tapped on the shoulder?
I was approached. So I'd been scouted for another reality TV show. And then that didn't go through, and I had the application form open for Big Brother, and I just thought, because I wanted to go on, and I just thought, I'm just going to leave it. I don't want to go through that whole entire process again. I closed the tab on my computer, and literally a week later, I received a call from Big Brother. So it was just a amazing sequence of events. It was just insane how it all happened.
I guess it's beyond your control, but how do you feel about the fact that Josh has admitted that he did not want to go on Big Brother, but only accepted going on the show if you were on the show, so that he could use this as an opportunity to, I guess, make his feelings known to you? How did you feel about that?
Look, I feel like Josh and I have been in and out of this sort of experience for the last 6 years. I've made it clear to him in the past that I don't see us, you know, evolving into anything more than what we've had and what we've shared. So, yeah, it was quite overwhelming and confronting to receive that from him. But, you know, Josh is fueled by his emotions. 1 minute he likes this and the next minute he likes that. So, yeah.
So what do you think he needed that platform to do it, rather than just ringing you up and inviting you out for coffee? Surely this could have been a Starbucks moment rather than a Big Brother moment.
Look, I can't speak for Josh, so I don't know what his intentions were and what his experience, what he wanted from this. So yeah, but
So you're both out of the house now. Have you caught up with Josh or just talked it through? I mean, how do things stand with you guys?
Yeah, look, like when Josh and I unfortunately do not have a friendship. He's made it very clear that he is not interested in the friendship, and I respect that.
Mm.
I, still care for Josh, and I think that it would be awesome that if we could have a friendship, but I also understand that, with the dynamics that we share, it's probably best for both of us to keep our distance and give each other space.
All right, so let's leave Josh there now, and then let's move on to Drew, because he was the next man, in the house that you were obviously attracted to. What was it about Drew that attracted you to him? I'm guessing surely it was that smile. He has a very cheeky, innocent smile, the kind of one that girls, guys, and grandmas love.
What attracted me to Drew was, yes, he has a great smile and he's just such a beautiful guy. But, you live with someone and you start to notice people's habits and behaviors. And Drew and I just clicked from the get-go. We'd have a laugh together. He's quite pasty, but I found him coming out and sitting in the sun with me frequently. And I just thought that was really cute that he'd put himself under the burning sun just to get to know me. And he did get severely burnt from doing that, which was really cute. But yeah, there's so much about Drew that I really adored in the experience. He was very supportive, considerate, thoughtful, knew what to say, would always have my back, and until he didn't. And yeah, it was just a nice little comfort zone for me with him.
Do you think it was an initial true love when you were in the house, or was it also an unusual set of circumstances where feelings are heightened because you're living in that kind of really small space on this reality show? It's kind of a completely different world to be on the outside, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's some studies being done on this kind of dynamic with human behavior and what happens when you're in an enclosed environment. And I think that our biology took over for sure. We are ruled by our hormones, are ruled by these primitive, instinctual drives. Even though we weren't intimate in the house, we were intimate to some degree, but we weren't physically intimate. I think that it's totally normal to have that attraction with somebody in such a closed space. But yeah, the dynamic, the environment's totally different to what the outside world is like. So
I bet it was. You said a lot of times on the show that you trusted Drew, even in the eviction room. Now, the rumor mill did swirl around about the house, about the conversation between Drew and Joel. The video quite clearly seems to show he was plotting to get rid of you and was doing a deal with Joel. Now, Drew has said that he was not referring to you when he was talking about Joel, about doing his dirty work. Now, you've now seen the episodes played out and you probably know more information now. So in your heart of hearts, was Drew doing the dirty on you in that conversation with Joel and then lied to you, or has he been completely misunderstood the whole time?
Okay, so when I watched it, I was triggered as all hell. I was like, this guy played me. What the hell, And then I messaged him immediately. I'm like, WTF, Drew? What the hell? And he admitted that the deal was about me. And my body had a full reaction to that. I was really hurt, and I was really actually, I got quite emotional watching it. And my heart started racing, and I was like, you start to think about what you could have done differently and how much time I wasted in this love bubble and whatnot. So there was a lot of regret and remorse there, but I'm trying so hard not to regret the experience. So to answer your question, in my heart of hearts, in the house, I believe that he had my back, but now watching back, I don't think he did.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, let's get to the previous episode where you were evicted, and then you yanked that sort of pull me thing, and the eviction was cancelled. Now, obviously, from your point of view, your own point of view, you would have been relieved to have been saved. However, I don't know you would be able to, if you're able to answer this objectively. But do you think that this kind of stunt cheated the housemates and the audience? Now, I'm asking this, I don't think it was because of you personally. I think the housemates and audience would have felt cheated, whoever it was. Do you think that kind of stunt was a low blow play by Big Brother?
No, of course not. Yeah, you're right, Aaron. It is hard to answer subjectively. But at that point in the game, whether it was Estelle or I leaving, the saving that whoever would have been saved, it would have just been so right for either one of us. So I think that Big Brother must have seen that I wasn't really playing the game, and I had conversations with Big Brother, and he really gave me a kick up the bum when I got back in, and he told me, like, this is not a time to waste your opportunity. Do not waste your second chance. So I took that advice and I did try to put together a strategy. Unfortunately, it didn't make it through because I didn't rally enough people together. But I did plant some seeds. So, yeah.
Well, the audience do obviously see a lot of editing, but some suggest, you probably heard this. Did you do anything in the house apart from making out with Drew? Now, a number of housemates did make reference to that on air, and Drew said he didn't make very many connections in the house. Do you have any regrets on that one? Like, do you think you lost confidence from your housemates, not because you're in a power couple, but because maybe they thought you didn't make enough strong connections with them, or maybe you did and then it just wasn't showing on air?
Oh, there's so much that's not seen on the air. Like when I moved from the OG side of the bedroom to the newbie side of the bedroom, Gabby would jump into bed with me every night and we would cuddle and chat. Leisha and I would have moments, Johnson and I would have moments, Taras and I slept next to each other, Brenton and I had lots of chats. Like, there's so much that doesn't get shown to the public that happens behind closed doors. And, Leisha's had her moments. Tully would have her moments. I'd have really in-depth conversations with Dave that I absolutely admire. And he's such a wonderful human. And I really loved those conversations. So, yeah, look, I definitely made a conscious effort. I felt like there was... I can only do what I can and I'm only aware of what I'm aware of. So I'm open to receiving feedback. And if I didn't make enough effort, that's fine. Like, I'm happy to own that. But yeah, like, there was a part of me that felt reluctance coming back into the house as well after 8 people, had voted me off. It was really uneasy. Like, I could feel this tension with certain housemates, and housemates I would never have voted for. Like Reggie, for example, she had it in for me, but she just didn't trust me. But she's one housemate I would never vote for. And I would sit in conversations with other people and they would talk about voting for Reg. And I just said to them, like, I'm not putting my vote on her. And I think because I wasn't willing to play with the alliances and do what they wanted me to do, that was a detriment to me because I was playing with my heart. And one thing I was not willing to compromise on in the house was my integrity. I would never be able to put my vote on someone like Reg or Dave even. That was a really difficult thing for me to do if I was to ever do that.
So let me ask you about connection with Tim. There was huge conflict in the house with Tim. I can see why there would be, but also on one hand, he was kind of right about what he was saying about Drew. So what was going on with Tim?
Tim and I had a really solid friendship when he first came into the house. And I, again, playing with my heart, just loved that. I didn't know Tim from Big Brother, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I started noticing him play this game where he would plant seeds and do what he does best, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's an amazing skill to have. It worked in his benefit in the house. And now that we've been out of the house, it's been amazing because he's been such a great support. But yeah, when he came for me, I struggled. I really, really, really struggled to not take it personally and to remember that we're in a game. But I am such a, relationships is my thing. It's what I do for a living. So like having a strong connection like that with somebody in the house, I was really kind of attached to that rather than playing the game. And I didn't want to compromise on my integrity, like I said. So and that was really difficult. I was really hurt when I found out that he was campaigning against me. And then I just had my back up the whole time. And I just felt so defensive because I just, was so deeply hurt. But, looking back over it, I was just like thinking to myself, oh my God, Tim was doing nothing but being honest with me. And I couldn't see it because I had my rose colored glasses on. I was so caught up in Drew's dreamy blue eyes.
Look, here's a big question for you now. It's the good old hindsight game. Knowing what you know now, I mean, would you have played the game differently if you had a do-over?
Knowing what I know now, I 100% would have played the game differently. You know who I would have clicked with straight up off the bat? I would have loved to have planned a strategy with Taras.
Yeah.
Taras and I have been he's been my rock in this whole entire experience post Big Brother House. And he's the one person that I feel the most comfortable calling straight away if I'm feeling anything. And I just wish that we had that friendship in the house, because I think we could have ruled the game.
Yeah, Taras, very popular player at the moment when I've been speaking to the other housemates who've been evicted. Look, you're out of the house now. Drew is still on air, but most of the audience obviously know that this season has been pre-recorded up until the finale, which will come back and be filmed live with whoever made it to the public vote. That means yourself and Drew have been out of the house for a while, so you're going to get asked a lot, but the $1 million question is, are you and Drew still together?
No.
Okay.
We're not.
Not together. All right.
Not together. No.
And you know what? We're going to, there's going to be a couple of obvious questions. What happened? What's going on? We're going to leave it at that. So Drew and Sam, not together. There's another person that we're not spoken about yet. And geez, it just gets complicated, doesn't it? And that's Tully. Tully was seen as being quite uncomfortable in the house with all with you guys kissing and what you and Drew were doing. I get one side of the argument that says Tully and Drew are not together. In fact, Tully has a partner on the outside, so it should not affect her. On the other hand, these two people have shared a history and closeness for some time, and I guess being affectionate around someone's ex, might be seen as her feeling uncomfortable. What were your thoughts on about how you and Drew sort of, I guess, conduct yourselves in front of Tully? Because it's another unusual situation.
Yeah, look, it's so interesting because I had no idea that Tully and Drew had continued to have some kind of connection on a more intimate level for years post their breakup. And after watching Tully the other night talk about that she was still hooked on him for 7 years post their breakup, I probably would have been way more mindful about my affection to Drew. But what I did was I put myself in her position and I thought about my ex-boyfriend from 9 years ago and how I would feel if I saw him kissing another woman. And, my ex from 9 years ago, it wouldn't be anything. I would not feel anything about that. So I kind of just went into it with that perspective, but I had no idea that Tully, because think about, it's almost 10 years ago. You're a different person to we're different people to who we are today. So I did my best to kind of have some empathy towards her. And look, Drew and I spent a lot of time together away from everybody to be respectful of that. And Tully would often come in and I know that she had a really strong friendship with Drew, so she'd feel safe with him, but there was this kind of she'd come and hang out with us and whatnot. So I did try my best, but I also found myself having to walk away from certain situations because I just felt like I didn't really get enough space. We're in a house together with the ex. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for Tully. It takes a lot of courage to come into the house alone. And I think that she held herself really well and she navigated the whole situation really well. And I can't imagine the discomfort. And I wish I knew what I know now. Yeah.
Well, before I want to go on to some other questions, just general questions without Tully and Drew and Josh and all that kind of stuff. But there may be nothing for you, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity now to set the record straight about anything that you wanted. Perhaps that we did what we didn't see on camera, something about the whole Drew, Tully, Josh thing, or is there anything else that you wanted to sort of set the record straight about?
Setting the record straight about Gabby. I did say something in the heat of the moment, and I think that Gabby's such a beautiful, beautiful human. And, we had cleared the air straight away, straight after, and she understood that it was coming from a place of panic and being under pressure. And, earlier in the show, she did admit she had a crush on Drew. So I was kind of like, I had that in the back of my mind. Yeah, Tully, Gabby and I have, a really solid friendship. And I just want people to know that, like, sometimes we do and say things in the heat of the moment. Yeah. And I'm human, I'm not a perfect person.
We're definitely all human. So Sam, let's do a quick game of choose a housemate. So who was the most genuine in the house?
The most genuine, Taras.
Yep. Oh, yeah, he's such a beautiful boy. Like, just all the housemates that have come out so far have just said, he's been awesome, whether they've been OG or newbie. What about the most non-genuine? Appears to be nice, but they could be lying to your face, and let's not include Drew.
How do I answer this? Do I answer it as in the house or like watching it back? Because when I was in the house, I thought Reggie was quite genuine. Now I'm watching back and I'm like, she's playing a game and she's claiming that she's not. But least genuine, Estelle.
Okay. Who would you most like to connect with on the outside of the house? Like just someone you'd love to have over for a barbecue because you just had a lovely connection with them.
Dave.
Oh, Dave. Love Dave.
Yeah.
Newbie housemate that you think could go the furthest?
Johnson and Taras. Can I choose two?
You can choose two. There's no rules here.
I think, I definitely like Johnson's really fun and playful and he's very strategic and he's got a good head on his shoulders. And Taras is just raw, real, very like able to manipulate and play both sides of the game. So he's doing a really good job too.
And finally, who would you like to win Big Brother?
Good question. I would like to win Big Brother. No, too late for that. Who would I like to win? Yeah, I mean, like I'd love to see Reggie up there. And Johnson's a super fan. I think he's amazing. So it's hard to choose, to be honest with you. There's so many amazing people. I love Dave as well. That would be awesome. He's got such a solid intention with his work. And I know that it would really support him and what he's doing in the world. So, yeah.
Well, let's have a couple of final questions about you. Tell us, because you've got a business, tell us a little bit about that and what you're up to with that.
So I'm an intimacy coach. I essentially support people and help people to better understand each other, to create fulfillment in relationships and, kill the drama, enhance the passion, create relationships that thrive. So I do that in a couple of ways. I have a program for men to teach them about women, and I have a program for women to teach them about men, and just educating people in the different ways that we communicate. And I have it's a year-long program, and it's a self-love experience. It's called Love Yourself First, and that is a curation of years upon years of work into 1 year-long experience, helping people to self-mastery essentially in dating and relationships, which I'm just so passionate about that, just that personal responsibility piece and having deep self-awareness and ultimately self-love. So that's where it's at the moment.
So with the relationships you've obviously had in the Big Brother house, whether it's the intimate ones or just the connections that you've made in the house, is that actually helped you with your business and helping you with your clients?
Yeah, I can relate with my clients in such a different way. You know, like I surround myself with people who are quite aware and conscious in the way they communicate. So being in a house where people that I'm relating with don't necessarily have the tools that my close friends do was a great little reminder to understand that, like, you know, there are people out there who need access to this information and need that support. So, you know, with some of my clients now, I can definitely relate with them on such a deeper way from, you know, the betrayal that I experienced with Drew and the betrayal I experienced in some of the friendships in the house. Like, I can really feel what that feels like, and it has definitely helped me with empathy and really like leveling with my clients and meeting them where they're at, because obviously I can see their highest potential, but I think it's a nice reminder that, hey, Sam, you've been doing this for years. Some people are just new to this sort of stuff, and you've got to meet them in that. So yeah, it's definitely helped.
So, well, I suppose I was going to ask what's next for you, Sam, but I guess it's working on your business. Are you going to take a little bit of a break as well, or is it just straight back into work?
Look, I have my passport has lapsed, unfortunately. So on my to-do list is to get my passport up and running. So I do want to go to Bali and spend a significant amount of time there for a little break. But look, my clients come first, and at this stage, I'm really working towards supporting them. And yeah, it doesn't really feel like work, Aaron. Like, I love what I do. So I wake up every Monday morning feeling excited for the week. It doesn't feel like work.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Sam, from what the audience saw, you have a big heart. I'm sorry that your time in the house was filled with so much, I guess, personal drama. It might make for good television, but there is a real girl underneath all that, and I understand it might be overwhelming with everything that's, you know, come out on air, but I'm wishing you some peace on everything that you're doing, and obviously with your business. I hope that's good, and we'll see you again for the finale. Thank you for joining me tonight, Sam.
Thank you so much, Aaron. I've had such a good time chatting with you. You're really fun, and I really appreciate you having me on the show and asking me some really confronting questions. Oh, great. I love it.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you, Sam. Eighth evicted from Big Brother 2022. That's it for tonight. Thank you for listening. I'm Aaron Ryan. I'll be back with a ninth eviction very soon. Good night.